Hi guys, my name is Trinity, and if you are here, you're here to talk about books because that's why I'm here, to talk about some books. And in today's video, I am going to be talking to you guys about the massive amount of arcs that I have. I want to tell you guys these things not to sound braggy or anything like that, but I want to let you guys know the things that I'm going to be reading because I am trying to fit all of these arcs into my reading alongside the books on my TBR. However, I have found that I've run into a bit of a problem. So you guys might not know that I have been an established reviewer for about 7 years. And in that time, I tend to forget that I am a valid book blogger, if not YouTuber, and I end up requesting a lot of books thinking, oh, I'll request, 10 books and I might get 2. But that was past Trinity. This is present Trinity going, what the heck have I done? So I want to let you guys know that I have gotten approval for quite a bit of arcs that I have not been able to get to, but I really want to get to. And I want to let you guys know a little bit about what they're about since I haven't been able to read them yet, but I really want to bring your attention to them. So the first one that I want to talk about that I haven't got around to reading yet is PC and Kristen Cast's new book, Spells Trouble. And if you guys don't know, PC Cast and Kristen Cast are the authors of the House of Night series, and it is based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I'm from, so it's very near and dear to me just because of that. But this is the start of their new series. So the description says, double double twin spell trouble. Hunter and Mercy Good are twin witches, direct descendants of the founder of their town of Goodville. As their ancestors have done before them, it is now time for the twins to learn what it means to be gatekeepers, the protectors of the gates to different underworlds, ancient portals between their world and realms where mythology rules and nightmares come to life. When their mother becomes the first victim in a string of murders, the devastated sisters vow to avenge her death. But it will take more than magic to rein in the ancient mythological monsters who've infected their peaceful town. Now Hunter and Mercy must come together to accept their destiny or risk being separated for good. If you guys haven't read the House of Night series, that is a vampire series, and it's actually pretty good. I wouldn't rank it amongst my top favorite young adult series, but it is still a standout novel or standout series, and I have enjoyed PC Cast's writing outside of the House of Night series as well, so I'm really looking forward to this, and I think it sounds like it's going to be a wild ride. And if you guys have read House of Night, it is a little bit of a wild ride, so very eager to get to this one. And it publishes on May 25th, so I do still have a little bit of time to read it. But as you guys know, there are a couple of big arcs coming up that I am working on right now. Current arc that I'm reading, just so you guys know, is Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. So far, it's interesting. I haven't been as wrapped up in this story as I have the Faithful and the Fallen series, so I'm hoping we will get there. But I'm not very far into it yet either. There are a lot of interesting things happening. I just haven't really connected with the characters yet. My most recent acquisition is 7 Deaths of an Empire by G.R. Matthews. And the description for it is, General Borden has a lifetime of duty and sacrifice behind him in the service of the Empire. But with rebellion brewing in the countryside and assassins, thieves, and politicians vying for power in the city, it's all Borden can do to protect the heir to the throne. Apprentice magician Chiron is assigned to the late emperor's honor guard, escorting his body on the long road back to the capital. Mistrusted and feared by his own people, even a magician's power may fail when enemies emerge from the forest, for whoever is in control of the emperor's body controls the succession. 7 lives and 7 deaths to seal the fate of the empire. Yes. So amongst the book bloggers that I am friends with, this is a highly, highly anticipated read. And from the people who have read it already, I'm going to tell you that they are loving it. And I want to go ahead and let you guys be aware of it, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it by the publication date. But it is June 22nd that it is going to be releasing, so fingers crossed that I get to it before the publication date. Now let's talk about the 3 that I am going to be reading very soon and that I'm going to try and tackle immediately. Talked about The Shadow of the Gods. There's 1. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Now I am on Andy Weir's list of book bloggers to get arcs. And when this one came, I was a little bit surprised because, if you guys don't know, I took a little bit of a hiatus from blogging, but the arcs started coming and I got one and I am very excited. I did love Artemis. I wasn't as big a fan of The Martian as everybody else has been, but I am very excited to get to Project Hail Mary. And I, again, will tell you, the people who have actually read the arcs have been raving about it. So if you are a fan of Andy Weir and The Martian, I do know that this reads more like The Martian than Artemis. And I'm already excited about that, simply because Artemis was a fun ride and I enjoyed it very much. But I did like a lot of the aspects of The Martian that I am hearing are in Project Hail Mary. And Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky, I am actually going to be a part of a blog tour for this book, and it releases May 27th. So I do have a little bit more time to read this one than I do the others, because they release on May 4th. So that will probably be my reading order of the 3, The Shadows of the Gods, Project Hail Mary, and then Shards of Earth. And for Shards of Earth, basically, if you liked Children of Time, they say that you will like this one. The war is over, its heroes forgotten until one chance discovery. Idris has neither aged nor slept since they remade his mind in the war. And one of humanity's heroes now scrapes by on a freelance salvage vessel to avoid the attention of greater powers. 80 years ago, Earth was destroyed by an alien enemy. Many escaped, but millions more died. So mankind created enhanced humans such as Idris, who could communicate mind to mind with our aggressors. Then these architects simply disappeared, and Idris and his kind became obsolete. Now Idris and his crew have something strange abandoned in space. It's clearly the work of the architects. But are they really returning? And if so, why? Hunted by gangsters, cults, and governments, Idris and his crew race across the galaxy as they search for answers, for they now possess something of incalculable value, and many would kill to obtain it. It sounds so fantastic. I think I'm gonna love this book, and I'm very interested to read Adrian Tchaikovsky because I have not read him yet. Now, the people who sent me the book are very aware that this will be my first Adrian Tchaikovsky, and I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled to be able to participate in the blog tour, and I am thrilled to read this. It sounds like it's going to be a great time, and from what I know of Adrian Tchaikovsky, I'm in for a heck of a ride. This next book I have talked about quite a bit on my channel, so I'm not going to go in depth with it. I'm just going to mention it. But She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, that is one that is going to be next on my list after Shards of Earth. So to tell you just a little bit about it, I'll read you the blurb. Mulan meets Song of Achilles in Shelley Parker Chan's She Who Became the Sun, a bold, queer, and lyrical reimagining of the rise of the founding emperor of the Ming Dynasty from an amazing new voice in literary fantasy. To possess the mandate of heaven, the female monk Zhu will do anything. And I had said before that it sounds like a very Mulan type retelling, and that's what they're saying it is. So I'm very, very I'm very excited to get to this one. Now let's talk about one that I dropped the ball on because it has already released, and that would be The Stolen Kingdom by Gillian Boehm. And I had meant to read this. One of the things that happened was my March was a little off kilter, and a lot of things ended up falling to the wayside because of issues that I was having personally. And that had nothing to do with the fact that I wanted to read this book and didn't get around to it. Nothing is quite as it seems in this thrilling YA fantasy adventure by Gillian Boehm, The Stolen Kingdom. For 100 years, the once prosperous kingdom of Perrin Fey has suffered under the rule of the greedy and power-hungry Thungrave kings. Merilith Greylern, a Venter's daughter, has no idea her hidden magical power is proof of a secret bloodline and claims to the throne. Alec Thungrave, the king's second son, has always been uncomfortable with his position as the spare heir and the dark stolen magic that comes with ruling. When Merilith becomes embroiled in a plot to murder the royal family and seize the throne, a cat and mouse chase ensues in an adventure of dark magic, court intrigue, and forbidden love. So it sounds like it's going to be great. It sounds like it's going to be dark, which I love. And I love political intrigue. You guys know this. So I am eager to get around to reading this, and I feel really bad that I missed the mark and didn't read it before it was published. Okay, and another that is going to release on May 4th, and I didn't realize that so many of these are going to release on the same day, but that would be Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. A triumphant genre-bending breakout novel from one of the boldest new voices in contemporary fiction. Vern, 7 months pregnant and desperate to escape the strict religious compound where she was raised, flees for the shelter of the woods. There she gives birth to twins and plans to raise them far from the influence of the outside world. But even in the forest, Vern is a hunted woman, forced to fight against the community that refuses to let her go. She unleashes incredible brutality far beyond what a person should be capable of, her body racked by inexplicable and uncanny changes. To understand her metamorphosis and to protect her small family, Vern has to face the past and, more troubling, the future. Outside the woods, finding the truth will mean uncovering the secrets of the compound she's fled, but also the violent history in America that produced it. Rivers Solomon's Sorrowland is a genre-bending work of gothic fiction. Here, monsters aren't just individuals, but entire nations. It is a searing, seminal book that marks the arrival of bold, unignorable voice in American fiction. So, I actually haven't read any Rivers Solomon, but I have been meaning to. There are a couple of books by Rivers that are on my list, and I'm really excited to get around to reading this. Now, again, it does release on May 4th, and I have 3 other very important arcs that are going to release on May 4th, so I hope I can get to this before the release date, but we'll have to see how quickly I can get through the ebooks that are The Shadow of the Gods and Project Hail Mary before I can get to this one. But I'm very, very excited to read it. Okay, this next one. I requested this arc because it just sounds like a dang good time. And I'm very, very excited to have it in my hands because it sounds ridiculous, but it sounds so great as well. and that would be Questland by Carrie Vaughn. Literature professor Dr. Addie Cox is living a happy, if sheltered life in her ivory tower when Harris Lang, the famously eccentric billionaire tech genius, offers her an unusual job. He wants her to guide a mercenary strike team sent to infiltrate his island retreat off the northwest coast of the United States. Addie is puzzled by her role on the mission until she understands what Lang has built. Insula Mirabilis, an isolated resort where tourists will one day pay big bucks for a convincing high-tech powered fantasy world experience, complete with dragons, unicorns, and yes, magic. Unfortunately, one of the island's employees has gone rogue and activated an invisible force shield that has cut off all outside communication. A Coast Guard cutter attempting to pass through the shield has been destroyed. Suspicion rests on Dominic Brand, the project's head designer, and Addie Cox's ex-boyfriend. Lang has tasked Addie and the mercenary team with taking back control of the island at any cost, but Addie is wrestling demons of her own, and not of the fantastical kind. Now she must navigate the deadly traps of Insula Mirabilis, and as well as her own past trauma. And no D20, however lucky, can help Addie make this saving throw. If you guys didn't catch the D&D reference there, it sounds like it's going to be one of those that is ridiculous, fun, and just a great read. So I'm very excited to get to this. Oh, and it releases on June 22nd. Now, this is a book that I mentioned on my folklore recommendations video. And it is Folklorn by Angela Mi-Young-Her. The release date was April 27th, or is April 27th. So it's going to be tight if I get to this. But since I talked about it in that video, I'm not going to go in depth here. But basically it says, a genre-defying, continent-spanning saga of Korean myth, scientific discovery, and the abiding love that binds even the most broken of families. Now, whenever I decided to read this, I did know that it had a contemporary setting. And I have recently been very put off to contemporaries, so I am going to try and read this with an open mind. And hopefully I can get through it and enjoy it, because lately the contemporary setting has not been working for me. But I want to get you guys aware of this book because it sounds like it's going to be really good. And the one that I know I'm probably not going to get to, and it kind of breaks my heart a little bit, is The Last Watch by J.S. Dews. Now, I am going to get to this, but I probably won't get to it before the release date because of The Shadow of the Gods, Project Hail Mary, and Shards of Earth that I have to read Shards of Earth for the blog tour. But those have taken priority, and I'm very sad that I might not get to this by the release date of April 20th because of those 3 books. Now, this again is one that I've talked about quite often because I have been very eager to read it. It's one of my most anticipated reads, right up there with Project Hail Mary and The Shadow of the Gods. So I am going to be reading this as soon as I get the other ones finished. And this has been pitched as Expanse meets Game of Thrones. So sci-fi, Game of Thrones, in space, that's what we're dealing with. The Divide, it's the edge of the universe. Now it's collapsing and taking everyone and everything with it. The only ones who can stop it are the Sentinels, the recruits, exiles, and court-martialed dregs of the military. At the Divide, Adequan Rake commands the Argus. She has no resources, no comms, nothing except for the soldiers that no one wanted. Her ace in the hole could be Kavlon Mercer, genius, asshole, and exiled prince who nuked his grandfather's genetic facility for reasons. She knows they're humanity's last chance. For reasons. they're in quotes. But yes, I am so excited to get to this one. But like I said, Those other 3 are taking priority for now, but I want to make you guys aware of this because it sounds so good. So again, basically, I wanted to set this up more like this is my TBR, not for this month, obviously, but these are books that I will be reading very soon, and I wanted to let you guys know about them in case I didn't get to them before the release date, because I am very nervous about that fact. And again, wanted to let you guys know which ones were taking priority and why I haven't got to the books that I did have on my TBR, because I'm having an issue with I got all the arcs and I don't know what to do. I might just have to have a month of only reading arcs. It might happen. But that is my video for today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!